Next up on the Run That Back podcast, we got the Above the Rim soundtrack to the movie Above the Rim. Next up, let's get it. Yo, what's up, Mr. Man, Scorpio Mo. And this is the Run That Back podcast. And today we have, one of what I consider one of the best. Well, let me say this. In the 90s, it was the decade of the urban soundtrack, right? And this is one of those ones, in my opinion. You know, we're going to see how Boogie feels, but in my opinion, this is one of them ones, right? And this is the Above the Rim soundtrack. Movie came out in 1984, starring Tupac Shakur.
First off,
I just said that.
You said 80.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
Go back. I said in 1994.
You said 84. Once we record this.
Trust me. 1984. You'll see.
You'll see.
1994. Above the Rim soundtrack. We're about to get into it. Let's go. Set the tone.
All right, folks. So the climate of 1994. It was pretty big. So if you're a hip hop aficionado, you already know that Illmatic dropped, Ready to Die dropped, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music dropped. Tupac released Strictly for My Niggas the year before, but 94 was the year that the classics Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around dropped. Also, from a hip hop point of view, we will get into Warren G and Nate Dogg's Regulate, which is off of the album that we are discussing. From an R&B perspective, Boys II Men, TLC, Aaliyah, and Brandy's debut popped off. In a pop realm, Mariah Carey's When You Hear This Song, You Know the Holidays Are Right Around the Corner. All I Want for Christmas Is You came out. Movies, Forrest Gump, The Lion King. Television, we talked before on the previous episode, the Friends debuted, which was a ripoff of Living Single. Seinfeld dropped. O.J. Simpson's slow Bronco chase popped off. PlayStation 1 came out. Fashion, baggy jeans, heel figure, cross color.
Yeah.
That was all that.
Let's get into the what was happening urban music wise.
That was basically it. Hip hop came out, so we're gonna get into the soundtrack of Above the Rim. So Above the Rim, multiple producers. Was released on March 22nd of 1994. It was recorded between 93 and 94. Various producers.
From what label?
It was actually on Death Row, Interscope, and Atlantic. So it was a big 3 labels between the two. Producers, just a real quick brief. Devontae Swing, Daz, Dalvin, DJ Quick, Brian Alexander Morgan, All Star. Albie Shore. That's basically it. But there were 4 singles that were released from the album. That how do you want to do this? Do you want to do the singles, or you just want to run through the album?
No. We do it like we do. We're gonna go through the singles.
All right.
Just kind of start from there.
Okay. So the first single that was released from the album was kind of like a 2-parter. It was I'm Still in Love with You, which was remade by Albie Shore, and then there was also Part-Time Lover, which was released from H-Town. That song, Part-Time Lover, was produced by Devontae Swing. Your thoughts?
I don't even remember that being the actual first single, but because to me the only thing I hear from them is, and I guess we'll get to that, is Regulate, but everything else was an afterthought. It really was, because that's how big it was. It dominated everything.
Yeah.
So everything else, in my opinion, was an afterthought. But this was the first time, because Devontae really, really dug H-Town. He really respected H-Town. You got to remember, outside of that, they weren't producing for anyone outside of Uptown prior to that.
Right.
But he had a respect for what they did. Obviously from Knocking the Boots, the first album,
right,
so on and so forth. But this is them coming off the heels of, they were protesting against Atlantic. They were signed to Luther Campbell Records /
Skywalker.
No, he had already sold that part. It was Luther Campbell Luke Records / he had to change the Skywalker because of George Lucas, pardon me. But so they were protesting against the label.
Okay.
And this is the interesting part, through the even through the beef, he didn't have to release them to do that record. He could have held that, and he didn't. They wound up getting the release, and they did that record, and it was a hot record, very, very Jodeci-ish sounding. He gave them this, he gave a lot of people their sound, which helped and kind of hurt at the same time. But I do remember the song was hot, the video was hot.
Do you think he respected them because of the way Dino's voice sounded? Was kind of in the realm of KC's vocals. It was like a little bit heavy, a little bit raspy.
Well, I think
so. It was something that his sound didn't stray. It was somebody new, but it didn't stray away from.
But you could have he could have took offense to that, because they had the same combination that JoJo and KC had. They had the strong voice, and they had the smooth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They had that combo. He could have easily. To me, it was that, but it was something special. I think it was the songwriting that he respected, because he could have easily took offense to them trying to be like them, because there was other people who were trying to be like them, and they made it a point to mention or kind of mention, and we'll get into that on the Jodeci episode, we ever do Forever My Lady or whichever album, but. So you gotta think about it. Was it that? Because at that point it could have been deemed competition, right?
Well, I mean, you gotta realize Jodeci came out in '91, so the second album, I think they've already established themselves in the game as well. So I don't think it was like a big.
It wasn't a threat.
Yeah, it wasn't a threat, because this came out in '94.
No, that thing, but the group itself came out in '93.
Right, but I don't think H-Town was a threat to.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But I'm saying he could have very easily took it as, yo, y'all doing what we doing. Y'all sound is like, and he didn't for whatever reason. But because the Regulator song was so strong, it really, initially it took over the album. But then the movie comes out and people are hearing the singles, and it wind up being one of those summer albums.
Right.
One of those Freaknik albums too. Because Freaknik that year, you gotta think about it. So Freaknik is in April, right?
Yeah.
So this comes out in March. As you just stated.
March 22nd, that's correct.
So Freaknik is 30 days later. So you think about that. And you couldn't ask for a better timing.
True.
Because everybody knows, like, Freaknik had, every summer there was an anthem.
Right.
It was an album or anthem.
Right.
And this was, to me, that one. I remember literally living downtown. And by CAU and all the cars, usually there was an album that dominated the sound.
Right.
This was one of them ones. And you could have picked any record off the album. So that's why it was kind of hard when you were just mentioning the first singles. I was like, yeah, I remember them, but there was so much an afterthought that I didn't even realize they were the first singles.
Yeah, those were the first singles. Like I said, Part-Time Lover, great song. The other one, I'm Still in Love with You, it was a remake of an Al Green song by Al B. Shore. I can honestly say this with full chested, it was trash.
Who told Albie that was, who told Mr. Shore this was, he was sure to do this?
Now,
that was like, what the?
I'll be certain that this was not a good song. But here's my thinking. It's just my opinion. I'm thinking since he was cool with Devontae might have threw him a bone and been like, you know, you want to get on this soundtrack? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, because you got to remember, Al B. Shore worked with Jodeci on their first album. So I'm just saying that's my thinking, that it might have just been a bone thrown out. But to pick that song from you, that's why I was like, trash. It's not, and it's a remake of not an Al B. Shore, of an Al Green song, which just didn't. That song
is crazy.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay. Second single, April 23rd, 1994. Regulate.
This is the takeover.
This is correct. Now with Regulate, this song ended up being actually going number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. So the big chart, number 2. R&B and hip hop charts, number 1, of course.
Easy.
But yeah, this song was huge, and that's the thing. I don't even.
So let's break this song down. So the sample is.
I keep forgetting by Michael McDonald.
So is it Michael McDonald or is that
no?
The
it's
Doobie
Michael
Brothers?
McDonald,
Okay.
not the Doobie.
All right. So Mike, you're not. I wonder if anyone used it before him and just didn't blow up, or was he the first?
I think he was. I think he was the first. Because even though there was a time of sampling, after that it's just. I think his catalog opened up to be sampled. Michael McDonald.
Okay.
I think his catalog opened up to be sampled. It also sampled
because you got to figure like it's on there, but it's technically a Def Jam record.
Yeah, because Warren G's on.
No, but they licensed it. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, they used the record to get the deal. But then, when they got the deal, Suge was mad. So the only thing he could do was, but the record was blowing, the only thing he could do was get it licensed to do, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
To be on the soundtrack. To make it almost seem, because at this point it's a Death Row affiliate. Because they didn't mess with Warren like that.
Right.
You know, he was just around. He didn't mess with him like that. So I'm just thinking like, what happened?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to preempt this by saying we're going to get a visit from our good friend and alter ego, Skeptic Mo, after I read this particular blurb. So, Warren bought a stack of vinyl records for $250 from a poor dude he felt bad for outside of a Roscoe's in Hollywood. Among that stack of records was Michael McDonald's I Keep Forgetting. Let me finish.
Y'all already.
It's a song he recalled from his stepmother and father's gatherings in North Long Beach. So he decided to do a 4-bar loop sample from that. And that's where he ended up getting. Also, he was watching the movie Young Guns, where the beginning of the song actually comes from. So he put that together. He also got the whistle riff from Bob James, who's very influential in hip hop sampling. From
probably the most sampled person in hip hop.
From an album called Sign of the Times, and that's how the song was put together.
Now, if you believe, like, I don't know where these cats get this. Listen, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skeptic Mo.
Whatever you. It's like, you know, maybe it's a publicist telling you need to, you know, because you gotta think about it. With every great record, there's a great story. Nobody wants to be like, yo, we just, you know, a great story helps give the record legs, right?
Right.
So when you do, you know, these interviews and, Breakfast Club things, you have this sensational story. I was on my last dollar, and you hear all this kind of wild shit. But once again, I'm not believing it. I don't believe that.
In any case, that was the song that drove to me. That's the song that drove this soundtrack.
It kicked it. Because there's a lot of factors, right? Sonically wise, I would say yes, but there were a lot of other factors. This was the movie that Tupac Shakur actually got arrested in almost to the end of shooting. He didn't even complete the movie. There was a double that came in that finished the rest of it. But it's the death row factor. It's the good music factor, and then like we said, it's this song, which is like the groove is infectious.
It's a classic Michael McDonald song.
And it's one of them ones to be like, I should have thought of that. Yeah. It's just one of them ones.
Also, that single, not the soundtrack, that single actually went double platinum.
And that's the catch. Do you realize they do that, but Def Jam gets the sales for the single. They get the sales for the album. This is where the licensing comes in. It's like, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we'll split the cost in video.
Right.
That's how it goes. So like, okay, Def Jam and what's the name split the cost, and it was an Interscope gets the bill, and they split it with Island Def Jam at the time. I don't think it was Universal yet. We split the cost. We get the cost for the single, you get the sales for the album,
right?
And that's how that works. So it's because trust me, Def Jam, no record label is going to be like, we're not going to pump you and we got the hottest song and we get nothing,
right? So
we're going to split it, and you get the sales for the album, we get the sales for the single,
right?
And we'll split the video cost,
right? The third single that was released on May 28th of 1994. Was a song called Old Time's Sake, performed by Sweet Sable.
Now here we go. No, hey man. Hey, as soon as I hear this song.
Or is it the sample?
No, it's all of it. I like what she's saying. What she's saying was like, listen, it's just not champagne popping. She's talking about drinking 40, smoking a blunt. This is technically hip hop at its like, in just the melody of the verses. I mean, the hook is the hook, and it's a great hook. I think it captures it all. But the simplicity of what she was talking about, it wasn't like we get a section and sipping Moet and Cristal and Ace of Spade. The simplest, we got a 40 in a blunt. I mean, we got a 40 in a blunt. I mean, not a 40, pardon me.
No, you're right.
A Heineken.
Oh, yeah, a Heineken.
In a blunt, and we just kicking it. Like, that's for old time's sakes.
Right, and don't get me wrong, I get the simplicity of the song. It's just, for me, vocally, and I know that may not be the theme of the song, because I kind of get I get a Mary vibe. I get a Mary vibe, but I get a Mary vibe, but from a West Coast point of view. But even Mary outsings this person. And I'm not looking. And here's the thing: I'm not looking for powerhouse vocals. It's just that when I listen to it, like you listen to certain things, like you listen to like tracks. And you listen for the wordplay first, and lyrics. I listen to songs that musically it hits me first, and then I get back. So it's like vocal.
But just the groove and like
the groove.
I knew not to take her serious, because I know, you understand, she's being produced by rappers, right? Yeah. I just saw an interview this morning with Demetrius Ship Senior,
right?
When he was talking about. That was the reason why he came to Death Row, leaving from Teddy's camp. Was for that reason.
Because he didn't want to produce vocals?
No, it's just that they had Jewels didn't come out. They couldn't figure it out because all the R&B stuff that they had was being produced by rap. They just didn't really get it yet.
Right.
So that was the reason why he came over there to kind of like, I see what you guys have. He, you know, and what
Came in here to
could
smooth
be
it out.
done?
Right.
What can be done to take it to another level? What you guys doing is cool, but I'm an R&B guy. We can take it to, you know, that kind of thing.
Elevate you.
Yeah, so I don't really expect that from them, but it was a vibe, especially what she's talking about. They're getting high, they're smoking it. They're not thinking about the pitch of the tone. It's a vibe. None of it is supposed to be taken seriously. It's just zone. Kind of like the stuff that I hear now. I can listen to anyone from Brett Fires, and then I can turn around and listen to somebody who's vocally incredible.
Right.
And I have an appreciation for both.
Right.
You know, that this is me, but I didn't feel that way. It's wild that you would say that. I mean, and I think it's just because your background, it kind of like I get it. I get it.
And don't get me wrong, it's like I love the track because the same to me it's like I couldn't remember
What is those strings or harp? What is that?
It's a guitar string. It's a guitar lick. Then it's like,
that part.
It's
That
just,
part sounds like a harp. That's what I was saying.
yeah, it's just like I said, I get it's a sample driven song because it's the same groove from beginning to end. Like I said, it's just vocally, I was just like taken out of it. Not that I didn't like it, I was just like,
Because half the motherfuckers sing along where they can't sing in the first place, so they're just grooving. They're not taking it serious.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I was like if it's on, I'm not going to fast forward it, you know. And if it doesn't come on, I'm cool. So like I'm kind of indifferent about it. But
I ain't gonna lie, it's very nostalgic. When I hear it, it takes me to a space, and I'm just like, oh.
now,
man.
don't get me wrong. When I hear it, I think about being in the streets of Atlanta.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So I get that. The last song that was released, July 2nd of 1994, and this was a banger. Afro Puffs by the Lady of Rage. We heard her on The Chronic, and this was her solo offering that I was not mad at all.
Farmville, Virginia's own.
That is correct.
New York lives, by the way. A lot of people don't know. She lived in New York as well. And then she went out west. But now I loved it, man. I think Rage never dropped an album, let's be clear, on Death Row.
Nope.
Super underrated. That song came in. She had a different look.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing female vocals over Dre's tracks, or Dre's sounding tracks, because you just never know who actually produced under Dre's name.
True.
You know, that kind of thing. But now, for her to third single to kick off that soundtrack, once again, this what made it so powerful, because they didn't miss. It almost felt like they just kept getting better and better.
You talking about the Death Row artists?
Just
Or just her?
No, the each song that they released from the soundtrack.
okay.
We're talking about from the Albie Shore / H-Town first single, then Regulate, then her. Like, they didn't miss.
Right.
And if anything, they just scaled up.
Yeah.
They kind of scaled up. So yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into the rest of the track list. Real quickly, that was produced by the credits say Daz and Dre.
So that means Dre, yo. I mean, pardon me. That means Daz. Pardon. That means Daz.
All right. Okay. So the first song on the album, Anything by SWV, the Anything remix. Boy, was this a banger.
No, here's the thing. The one on the album is
It's
not the same.
I know it's not the same as the one that was
It's still
released.
hot. It's still hot.
Yeah, definitely still hot, but
It's
not
still
the
hot.
one that was released. And most times what labels like to do, they put something on the album, but then for a video release, they do something totally different.
Because the other one had Wu-Tang on it.
Exactly. And that's the one that blew up.
That's the one that blew up.
That's the one that,
But it was still hot. Just to keep it real, without it, it was still they like you don't understand. So at this time, what's this SWB's in between their second and third album, right?
no, it's first.
So this is from the in between their first and second album.
Correct.
Come on, man.
So they already had bangers off the
You
first
can't
album.
like to do that, to come off. I still see the video.
Yeah. And Anything was just an interlude. It wasn't even a full song on their album. It was just an interlude. It was just, pianos, harp, strings. It was just very, but this brought it into a whole full song. You remember, right?
And it was slowed down.
Exactly. It was a slow.
They made it an up tempo.
Exactly. All Star, who was the producer of this, I believe
Now,
he worked under Teddy.
Right. Now this is them coming away from, unfortunately, Brian Alexander Morgan.
Right, but it wasn't actually them getting away from him. What the deal was that the record company didn't want to give him publishing, so he stepped away because the money wasn't right. Although
he
wrote
still did songs on it, he didn't do any singles.
Right,
after
their first album,
right.
he damn near wrote and produced their whole first album.
Right.
But there's go back around, the business wasn't right from his perspective, so that's why he never got back in with them. The second song, like I said, Old Time Sake, we went over. Third song, we went over Part-Time Lover. The fourth track, Big Pimpin'. This was Dog Pound.
This was fire.
Yeah, the sample.
This
sample
was
driven.
Was this Daz?
This was Daz
This
production.
was hey man.
Daz,
This
Corrupt,
was
Nate
fire.
Dogg.
They do a clip of this on I think it was the Russell Simmons movie.
How to Be a Player?
No, the documentary. They showed a clip of it. Them I think they were like in a Winnebago or something, or a tour bus. But this was, man. Listen, it like in the background they're displaying their crew, and these guys, you gotta remember, they don't have an album out yet.
Yeah.
But you're hearing what's on deck.
Right.
Yo, they are hotter than, like, you don't understand. Death Row at this point in '94 is nothing bigger than them, and Bad Boy ain't dropped yet.
Right. So West Coast.
They ain't dropped that album. Yeah. Big doesn't come out until September 13th of this year. Right. I don't even think Juicy's out yet. I don't think so.
Juicy didn't come out in the summer?
It came out a little late.
Spring?
No, it came out. No, this is still. Yeah, I remember. This is March.
Right.
The album comes out, so this is still pre.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the West Coast. This is the reason why their sound changed. When they were talking about they got that West Coast thing and they were borrowing samples from Death Row's album and Chucky Thompson when they did what's the name puts that sound through it when they did Big Papa. That was all due to the West Coast influence because they was on fire. My bad.
No, you're good. The next track, Didn't Mean to Turn You On. This was done by Second to None. Produced by DJ Quick. Now,
very quick sounding.
Very quick sounding. And I couldn't tell if Quick. It sounded like Quick was on it, but I'm not sure.
No, that's what I'm saying. Vocally, it's definitely Quick influence, but at this point, you could separate Quick from Dre because Quick just had this sound.
Yeah, it was a DJ Quick sound to it.
Not quite yet.
Well, he produced it.
Yeah, but it didn't. You couldn't zero in to say that's Quick sound. You know what I'm saying? At that, you could vocally.
What I'm saying is the song sounded like a DJ Quick song.
Right. No. But there was a point where people get confused with Dre's production and Quick's production. This wasn't it yet. Because they're both sound guys. Hence the reason, All Eyes on Me is mixed by Quick and not Dre. A lot of people say.
And also Quick was giving sounds to Dre.
This is what I'm saying.
The next song, Doggy Style by DJ Rogers.
Here we go. Story time. As far as the story, the part I know, when you hear it's by DJ Rogers. DJ Rogers is a male, right? The song is written by a female.
I don't like it either way, so I don't care.
Oh!
I didn't like Didn't Mean to Turn You On, and I don't like Doggy Style. This, for me, is where the soundtrack took a...
This is what... Okay. They later became Red Light and then the Camp, because they had changed their names, but there's a female named Bright Eyes that wrote the track.
Ah, okay.
And so for me, it was very interesting to see a woman write from a male's perspective. Because a lot of times we as males write female records from a woman's perspective and win. You know, a lot of the SWV stuff is written by a dude.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But especially on the first album. But here you have a woman writing as if she was a male. And not just on some I love you type time, but I love this, you know, thing with you sexually, so on and so forth. So I was when I met her and she told me that, and she was just showing me, you know, her credits, and I was like, yo, I just thought that was super interesting, especially at that time. You know, we're in the studio and she's telling me that. She was like, yeah, I wrote that, and she wrote another record on him. But I was like, wow, that's kind of dope. You know, I think her name is in the credits, on the writing credits.
Yeah, the producer of that was Samana Brown.
That's him, Swoop.
Okay.
That was her husband. I don't know if they were married at that time, but that's her husband.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Bright, that's him, and Swoop. That's what the SWAT is Bright Eyes and Swoop. They had a production team at that time. Okay. So, yeah.
The next song we've already discussed.
With the equipment that Sinbad brought.
The next song was Regulate. Now, the next song, again, sample driven. Not that I'm indifferent about this song as well, but it's Pour Out a Little Liquor.
This is the one. This is what bonded Suge Knight and Tupac's relationship. Tupac had never been paid this amount. When you hear Tupac being paid a certain amount of money, he was like, I've never seen that before to do a feature. I think it was like 40, 70,000, some ridiculous number. And Suge paid Tupac that to do it.
But came around and paid $1 million for bail. So guess what? He put down a little to get a lot.
It's just interesting how that works. But yeah, part of a little looking. Which was the video for that, by the way, too.
But I wonder if that was from.
It was licensed out for the. It was on the Thug soundtrack.
But what I'm saying is was it? Even though there was a video for it.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like it was
because there was a video for anything.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Okay. It was for the what was this Thug
Thug Life.
Thug Life. They got it and they used it.
Gotcha.
That's why it wasn't an official single on here, but he used the same song and put it on. That's what I'm saying. And then they shot a video for it over there.
Got you.
Yeah.
So the next song. Oh. The next song is Gonna Give It To You. Jewel featuring Aaron Hall. And I'm going to say this. If you want to know what a black porn sounds like, ebony porn, mahogany porn, nasty porn, in an audio version, this song is it. And I don't like it, but that was my thought.
I don't like it, and Jewel tells the story maybe a couple years before she passed on how the song came about. And Aaron, they both wrote it. And I think they were just really trying to outdo each other. First, Aaron came in there and tried to regulate, no pun intended, and was like, yo, I'm doing this and this. She was like, we're not coming in here. And they wind up collaborating and writing it. And if you hear it, it almost sounds like you were saying, they trying to outdo each other or outporn it. I don't know. It just became something else. They could have kept it classy and kept it right, but it seemed like at some point just the idea of the two doesn't sound like a bad idea. But it would have been different if they would have had a writer and leave their two egos out of it and somebody to A&R it and some structure and be like, here's the song, you guys, and keep it and produce it. You leave it up to these people, it turned out the way it did.
Because now that you say that, You are correct. The song sounds like this is a perfect example of the phrase "doing too much." She was doing too much. He was doing too much. It was just too much. The next song, Afro Puffs, we already went over. Again, this is where the soundtrack takes a dip for me. Just so you know, from CPO Boss Hog.
It's a very here's what I want people to understand about this album, and you don't even think about it until I say it. You can be like, yeah, that's kind of weird, right? Yeah. It's a movie based on the East Coast, but it's a West Coast soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is already like, huh?
Yeah.
And nothing says it more than this particular record. Because they went all, there's more, but this is where, some stuff is tolerable and it's even cool. You could be like, okay, because we're already warmed up to the West Coast sound already. But this one just took like, this is one of the ones for me I didn't feel. It was unnecessary for the album, in my opinion.
The next song, Hoochie's Need Love Too by Paradise.
Shorty wrote that as well.
Correct. And
she told me.
Yep. Yeah.
She wrote that.
Again, nope.
And I didn't feel this one. I told her, I was like, yeah, that one don't. And she said you have to see the girl. Because she was a rapper. She was a rapper and R&B singer. I mean, writer. She can't sing, but she can write it. And she was like, if you see her, she said, you'll understand what I'm saying. Because this is back before Thought. In LA, it was Hoochie. Right. It wasn't Thought. It wasn't any of the names that back then in the 90s, it was Hoochie. Right. And she wanted to make a record where it's like, I might be this way, but understand this is my, one of my product in my environment records, but I'm still it's like Morris Day, gigolos get lonely too. If you know, you know. It's like one of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of them joints. Yeah. It wasn't, it was unnecessary for the album. Yeah. It didn't. Definitely. Especially if you already got Rage on there rapping. Yeah. It's like, you gotta take a step back.
The next song, I'm Still in Love with You, I'll Be Sure, trash. Again, with the downsliding of the album continues with a song called Crack 'Em by OFTB, Operation from the Bottom. DJ Quick produced this along with them.
Yeah, this is where the album dips again for me. Once again, the outside guys, I don't know why that is, but the outside of the real Death Row camp, for it to be an East Coast movie, and they played the song in the soundtrack, in the movie, by the way. It just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right at all. Hearing it and even placed in the movies, I'm like, what?
Yeah. The next song, You Bring the Dog Out, in parentheses, Rhythm and Knowledge.
I like this one. Bring the dog out. That's it, right? Mm-hmm. I started to get the bounce. I put it this way. I started to understand the bounce. And this was, LA was really about the party. It wasn't so much shoot 'em up and tough talk. It was about their version of how they party. You know what I mean? The call and response, the record could be taken different ways, and I don't want to get into it because then it becomes real politics with the word dog and all that kind of thing. But I wasn't really mad because by this time I'm realizing we're in the West Coast pocket. I'm not expecting to hear anything East Coast driven. It's coming out of Death Row. Even though you had my boy over there, Sneed was over there, and he conformed in a sense, but a lot of the writers, not on this album, but a lot of their writers from that camp were from the East Coast, even producers. a couple of them from your hometown. Butter, Sneed. This was before Mel got over there, because Mel got over there in '96. But it was Butter, Sneed, and I want to say somebody else was over there, and they were heavily involved with Dre. And then obviously we know Corrupt, Lady of Rage. So, you know, I started to get the bounce. The Parliament, G-Funk. You know, this is smack dead in the middle of it, because Regulators, it's just smack dead in the middle of G-Funk. So,
the next song, "Blowed Away" by B. Rizal. This was actually produced by Devontae Swing, which is a strike one for Devontae.
I didn't like the rap.
I didn't like any of it.
I got the concept, but I wasn't feeling it. Which is, you know, Devontae has very few records I'm not feeling.
That's what I'm saying. I was like,
this was one of them, unfortunately. Man.
The next song, "It's Not Deep Enough," again by Jewel, and this was produced by Mr. Dalvin. Now, I'm not too particularly fond of this song, but I kind of get where Dalvin was going with it from a track perspective, but it's just, again, for me, I like Jewel from a hook singing perspective based off of The Chronic.
Do you like her tone? Because to me,
I like
that's what
her.
makes me dig her, and she can almost vocally, other than when she's doing a little too much, because of her tone, she can get away with a lot with me.
I like her tone, but like you said earlier, I think her issue is that she just wasn't produced well.
Right.
Outside, like I said, The Chronic, you singing on hooks, that's fine. I just need you for these 8 bars, and then I can let you wild out.
So let me ask you this.
Pockets.
Other than Dalvin, if she was produced by Devontae, do you think it would have came off a little better?
I'm not sure. Because I don't know if,
because this is Dalvin's introduction into production.
right. I don't know if he would have worked with her. From just, if you think about it from a vocal point, because you remember who he picked up. He had Missy in her group. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sonically, she doesn't match with, in my opinion, what he was doing.
Okay, I will tell you this. So, the Mary J. and KC record.
Mm-hmm.
You take out Mary and you put. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think Jewel's voice has. Now, I'm not saying Jewel can't sing, because she can, but I don't. There's just something about her tone that Mary's voice is heavy, but it's not.
But she can make it soft.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel like Jewel's can make it soft.
Exactly. Jewel is.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's the reason why it works on the gangster records over there.
Exactly.
And she comes in like, yeah. So okay,
yeah,
I get
you see
that.
what I'm saying? It's like I just don't,
I get that. That's a good point.
Yeah. And the last song, "Dog Pound for Life," produced by Daz. Like I said, for me, I didn't like it, but your perspective.
It wasn't their best track. That's the Dog Pound. They got some stuff though.
Yeah.
They were like, I think their album came out a little too late. The Dog Food. It was, the hype was over, or damn near. They was a little too late. Right. But I don't think this showed their best work. But I think the jewels of this album were.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's 3 more songs too. Okay.
No, I want to get into that. I said the jewels of the album were other songs, but it wasn't, it was definitely were the singles, but other stuff like the remixes and, I think that helped solve the movie. When people got the album, it wasn't quite what they heard.
Yeah.
single wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, as we stated, it's an East Coast movie, and the wild thing is, it's an East Coast movie based on basketball, or basketball was like the main theme of it, and it's like you're not. I mean, especially back in, like I'm from Pittsburgh, that's on the East, and it's like I don't think of West Coast music when I'm playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that's just
I
me.
think
That
they were
wasn't
the
good.
hot. They were the hot. They got the bid because that's when you had the bid for songs. They got the bid
Because they were hot.
because they had the high hand.
Yeah.
But it didn't necessarily fit. Like I said, most people don't even think about it. That it was a East Coast movie with a West Coast soundtrack.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it could be marketing. You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got this movie that's, East Coast driven. It was white. It was a white director and white produced. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm just saying that to like somebody probably more urban would have got it and be like, nah, we might be doing it, but maybe the record wouldn't have been. Like, to me, arguably, this is one of the best soundtracks of the 90s. Not because, because I know people going like the way they excel and all like that, but as far as the blend of hip hop and R&B, heavy on the hip hop, light on the R&B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, plus the album went double platinum, so.
Easily, like that summer, if you were in Freaknik that summer, like every other car was playing Regulate Up, the Sadie record.
Yeah.
What? Sable.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like that. What?
Yeah. The next song, Pain, that had Tupac and Stretch.
Right.
Again, to me, I love it. Now, again, this song sounded like an idea that was not fully flushed out. I love the sample. It's just that the drums never kicked in for me. And then, like I said, once that didn't work for me, my mind was just like, I didn't even hear it.
But they used it to sell the movie, and I think because of his controversy.
Yeah.
Describe your pain. That sample when they come in, the background vocals. They never take me alive with my 4-5. Tupac, and that's when he had that style and he was dragging everything. But you just got to remember what was going on at that time, man. It was all about him.
Yeah.
This is prior to him being, robbed and shot and quad, and because that didn't happen until later that year,
Right.
that fall. So, but he already, had been booked for this, and that's the scar and him, being taken away with the handcuffs out the Parker Meridian.
Yeah.
So it was like they got a lot of promo for the movie, and you'd be wrong not to have him featured as a single or at least pushed, because some of the promos was that.
Yeah.
It wasn't an official single,
Right.
but some of the promos were like, you would think it was because they ran that a lot, but it actually wasn't. And I think a lot of people, because of the controversy that he had, that's the reason why it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because of his charges.
The next to last song is called My Money Right. That was performed by Lord G.
Whatever.
Exactly. And the very last song, Loyal to the Game, had Tupac, Tretch, and Riddler on it. Again, to me, whatever.
Who produced that one?
Reginald Hurd.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that basically is the Above the Rim soundtrack. Pros, cons, and conclusions, sir. Okay, so now we're back with our pros, cons, and conclusions for Above the Rim. What are your pros?
My pros for this album is Regulate. We got Regulate out of this. Heavily
Warren G.
promoted Warren G out of it. Regulate.
Actually, Nate Dogg too.
Yeah, Nate Dogg as well. All the singles, like even that Disable Afro Puffs, like we got some joints out of this. The pro, I mean, those are my pros, man. I'm gonna do my pros and cons and get that out of the way. The soundtrack was better than the movie. I wasn't a fan of the movie. Soundtrack was better than the movie. The movie was, for me, I know what the movie could have been, but it wasn't that. I know because the movie was written by a lot of people don't know the movie is part of the New Jack City trilogy. I don't know if people know that.
I remember you saying that.
It's backwards. So it's that, then it goes to New Jack City, then it goes back to
Sugar Hill.
It's backwards.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's how the movie is supposed to go. All written by Michael Cooper and what's Loon's uncle's name from LA. They were movie producers from Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they did that and they just wanted to tie it in because they're all Harlem based, right?
Because I was going to ask you what was the theme behind the trilogy.
They were all. It was the street guys and how street politics work from the lower level. Then they go into New Jack,
mm-hmm.
and then they go into these older, more sophisticated. With Wesley and his brother, mm-hmm. and that kind of thing. And it was just kind of showing like how it comes down to a hip hop level. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. But I just don't believe that, to me they didn't connect it well. They could have connected it well, but I think if they would have sold it like that, they would have never got done. I think they secretly put it that way. Because
mm-hmm.
if they told them in the first movie failed, they were like, now we're going to do a sequel. I don't think it would have been greenlit by the studios, me personally. But it's all is by the same dudes. It just had different directors. And the problem with each one of those movies, other than what's the name, is they were all white directed.
So none of them were directed by
other than Mario Van Peebles
for New Jack City.
And they did that on the strength of his father. But the other two were white directed. And I think I won't say that hurt the film, but it didn't help it because you that's very important to you can give it to the director and the director can mess it up.
Well, yeah, because from a culture standpoint, if I don't understand what I'm shooting and what I'm filming, and the story behind it, then I'm just pointing a camera at you and telling you, okay, go for it.
Yeah, it's your what's the name director. It's very important because they'd be like, no, this is the slang of the time. No, this is, to get the authenticity of certain things. I forget what it's called. Fab Five Freddy was
consultant.
It's a consultant. Mm-hmm. And it's usually somebody from that background and be like, nah, this ain't right, mm-hmm. and change certain things. Something like that. That's what it is. And that's a check for that. My cons is the singles. And it was a West Coast movie. It was an East Coast movie. I think they just went for what was hot at the time. But I can honestly say if it was from the East Coast, I'm not sure. Because of where the East Coast was at, we would have got the same soundtrack. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about the time and think about who was hot. Def Jam wasn't messed up. They were trying to figure it out. Bad Boy didn't exist yet. Well, they were working on Big's album. Mm-hmm. Who would you have done? Bomb Squad already did Juice. Mm-hmm. Who would you have done?
Ooh.
Think about it. We gave it to Eric Sermon.
Well, he wasn't named. Well, I was going to say Eric Sermon. I was going to say Jodeci. I was going to say.
I'm glad you just said Joe. Okay, now Uptown that already did.
Like I said,
the movie? No. What's the movie?
Strictly Business.
They did Strictly Business, mm-hmm. but. At this time, though, they up with Mary. Mm-hmm. They got Hev. Mm-hmm. They got Jodeci.
Right. Now, it didn't. Now,
and Puff was A&R and still. No, he was out.
Right. And I'm not saying it had to be. It would have been an Uptown production. What I'm saying is those artists could have contributed songs.
But who had the hot hand from that area, from the tri-state? That South didn't come up yet.
Right.
That was next year.
Yeah.
So the West had the high hand.
Yeah. Yeah, well, definitely, when I think about it, yeah, because what?
Wu-Tang wasn't.
Had Boomerang.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Uptown had Strictly Business.
who would you have given it to? You would have had to double up and either give it to Uptown.
Yeah, Motown didn't have anybody.
Who would you've given that project to that had this is right before the boutique labels really took off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And plus it would have been, I think if it was East Coast, it would have been it would have leaned heavily more on R&B than hip hop based on that time. Because this is more
who R&B though who?
Like that's why I said Jodeci.
I know who. I think you would have had to come together, put it on someone's umbrella. And you would have had to do everyone that did Nas's album. You would have had to put Mir do a couple, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You would have had to like cherry pick and be like, you know what? There's no group, there's no what's the name that got the team thing on lock. Mm-hmm. But there is this guy over here, this guy over here, and we put Eric Sermon. I'll swap Eric Sermon out for what's the name from Queens? The Southern Large Professor. I put in Eric Sermon.
Yeah. But then again, from a sales perspective, it definitely wouldn't. The soundtrack definitely wouldn't have sold because they're more of a niche.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? And then this marketing. You got Death Row who's on fire right now. Yeah. That's why it's such that's why I think people don't even realize. But that's how it could be a testament to how dope the soundtrack was because. How do you get it easy? You think it would be the other way around? It felt odd to hear. It felt odd to hear on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. You got a song in there by the main source, Friendly Game on Baseball. I thought that was, even though I love the record, I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
I was like, this don't go here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that was my own. So I get it. But they did a better job at it. What are your pros and cons?
Pros are, let's see, anything old time sake. Actually, I like 1/3 of the album. There were 21 singles. I like 7 of the songs. And 4 of them were the singles, and the other 3 were anything. And I forget the other 2. But that's it. Cons, the rest of the album. Trash. That's basically it. Your conclusion.
As far as hip hop goes, best soundtrack of the '90s, I don't know. I might change my mind because when I think about it, like Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in South Central. Didn't really care for the movie. I don't even know if I even saw the whole thing. Soundtrack was right though. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the '90s, the rule, the soundtrack, and Waiting to Exhale. But it was mainly R&B. 90% of it. I think it was like one song that had like a feature with hip hop. I don't know. But when you talk about it may be the timing of it. It's the summer. Waiting to Exhale came out like around Christmas. So it was like a holiday record. LaFace cleaned up with that. Holiday records always do good, by the way. But this is something, man. Maybe because it was the theme of Freaknik that year. I don't know. But I would just rate this. Let's say if I went from 1 to 10, I would give this. I'll give this a 7.5. I almost want to say 8, but there's some couple of stinkers on there that kind of blow it.
A couple?
Yeah, but I'm still going on. Listen, if you got 3 to 4 good joints on there, I'm with it. And this had those, but I was 7.5. I want to give it an 8 so bad, but I can't.
I'm going to give it a 6. Like I said, 21 tracks. I like 7. That's a third of the album. I like a third of the album.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you give me 7 out of 21. I mean, it's still a failing.
But here's the wild part. Technically, Dre ain't do shit on this album.
Yeah, the only thing he's credited with is
we already know who did that.
But honestly, the only thing he's credited on is Rages.
Yeah.
One. But that's it. So that will wrap up our Above the Rim soundtrack review. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram at the Run That Back Podcast, at Twitter/X, the Run That Back Pod 1, on TikTok, the Run That Back Podcast 1. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. Please comment.
And not only that, let me know what y'all think about this soundtrack, man, because I just, and having discussions, I know a lot of people's favorite album of soundtrack wise.
Okay.
And it might have to do with, like I said, it was a summer theme for a few people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's one of mine. I'm not gonna hold you. It is one of mine of the 90s. 90s was definitely the decade of the soundtrack. In some cases, they were better than the movie. I promise you.
Yeah. Don't forget to run this up because we saw what you did with Juice. Juice was a good soundtrack that y'all took a look at. I think like 7,000 of y'all looked at that.
Yeah. Y'all did our Juice episode good, man. I super appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Come back, leave more comments. Tell us the soundtrack y'all think that we should do. Because we do read the comments. We do, and tell us, and we'll get to it, man.
Yeah, we want to engage with y'all. So, on behalf of
Scorpio Mo,
I am C Boogie, and this has been
the Run That Back Podcast.
Run That